Hello and welcome to Season 8 of AnimeCons TV. I'm Patrick Delahanty and I'm here to report on the 10 largest anime conventions of 2015. We start off the year every year. We do a report of the 10 largest anime conventions of the previous year, and so this year's no different. I know everybody's been waiting for this list because there's been some changes. But first, let me explain how the attendance count works. A lot of conventions, particularly professional conventions like Macworld or Photoshop World or even New York Comic-Con, or actually I'm not sure about San Diego Comic-Con, but maybe Salt Lake City Comic-Con, they will report what we call turnstile numbers. That means that if somebody comes for 3 days, they're counted 3 times. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to pass through a turnstile, but a 3-day badge is triple, a 2-day badge is double, 1-day badge you're only counted once. What a lot of anime conventions do is they'll measure what we call a warm body count or a paid attendance number. In that, everybody's counted once, whether they're here for 3 days or 1 day. If they're a paid attendance, then it's everybody who has a badge and paid for it. So it's your 3 days, your 1 day, your 2 day, your VIP. They paid for the badge, they're in the paid count. The warm body count gives you an overall impression of everybody that's enjoying the convention, whether it's guests or dealers or staff, press, or the attendees. So the warm body count gives you the total picture, and that will include anybody with a badge. It does not include hotel housekeeping staff. It doesn't include convention center maintenance workers. If they're working at the facility, they don't count. This is your staff, your attendees, your press, guests, artist alley. And so what we're reporting here is either a warm body count or a paid attendance count. The turnstile is a little disingenuous because it tends to inflate the numbers the more days the convention has. And it's helpful for hotels because they know how many room nights they might sell. Restaurants can kind of anticipate how many meals they might sell. But for our purposes of comparing apples to apples, we're looking at warm body or paid attendance count. Anyway, let's get to the list. It's what you want. Now, number 10, starting off at the bottom here, Otakon comes in at the 10th spot. That's in Montreal, and I did a report from them. I visited them for the first time this past year. Great convention. They had 20,210 warm bodies. That's up 14.43% from last year. And so the fact number 10 is at over 20,000. This is the first year where every convention on the list is over 20,000 people. So that's quite an accomplishment. I think it was like 8 years ago that we passed 10,000. So number 9, we have SakuraCon in Seattle, Washington, with 23,419 warm bodies, and that's up 6.45% from last year. At number 8, we have AnimeCons in Houston, Texas, with 24,328 warm bodies. That's up an astounding 25.32% over last year. Number 7, Anime Week in Atlanta, Georgia. They had 25,107 paid attendees. That's up 23.61% over last year. Number 6, Anime Boston, with 27,150 warm bodies and 26,475 paid attendees. That's up 6.5% from last year. At number 5, big surprise here, Otakon. Otakon had 26,877 paid attendees. That's down 20.78% over last year. And there have been a lot of theories as to why it's down so much, and I'll talk about them after the list. We'll get through this first. Number 4, we have AnimeCon in Dallas, Texas, with 29,383 warm bodies. That's up 11.4% over last year. Number 3, we have Anime Central with 31,113 warm bodies. That's up 4.85% over last year. Number 2, Anime North in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with 32,651 warm bodies and 30,210 paid attendees. That's up 5.97% over last year. And finally, no surprise to anyone, Anime Expo is the largest anime convention in North America of 2015. They had approximately 90,500 warm bodies this last year. That's up 5.23% over 2014. Now, the elephant in the room, Otakon. What happened there? Now, Otakon, from 2013 to 2014, you may recall it went down in attendance. It actually went down, I have my math here, I have notes. It went down, I lost it. It went down like 1%. It's in here somewhere, I can swear. But yeah, they went down not a whole lot, but they did drop. Now, this year they dropped 20%. And a lot of people, Anime News Network in particular, did an article theorizing that it was the Baltimore protests that caused that drop. I'm saying that's not the reason. It may have been one factor, but it certainly was not the primary factor. Because, and I've got evidence to back this up, BronyCon. I never thought I'd mention BronyCon in one of these reports. BronyCon was held at the same venue 2 weeks later. Their attendance grew 4.21% from 2014 to 2015. Now granted, BronyCon's a smaller convention, and their attendance went up 4.21%. But the point is, it went up, and it was only 2 weeks later. If, in fact, the Baltimore protests were the reason that Otakon dropped, we would have seen similar behavior in BronyCon. We didn't. So that means there must have been some other factors at play. Now, because this is not the first consecutive year of drop in attendance for Otakon, I believe this is a symptom of a larger issue. I think that there's issue that the Otakon staff may not want to admit, but I believe the issue is with Otakon itself. Otakon has had long lines, particularly registration lines. In 2014, both Anime Expo and Otakon had horrendous registration lines, and I think that turned a lot of people off to both conventions. If you look at Anime Expo, they only went up, 5.23%. And so why would somebody want to wait in that line again when they can go to another convention, maybe a month different in the same town or the same time somewhere else? Also, Otakon raised the registration rates. It went from $80 to $100 at the door, and pre-registration went from between $70 and $80 to between $80 and $95. And in online forums where people were discussing the reasons Otakon's attendance went down, a lot of people cited the registration price. And so I believe that was a factor in their registration or their attendance dropping. Now, another factor that compounds the problem is that Otakon has seemed to have fallen into the habit of not updating their website very soon after the convention. They'll put up a notice, and as I record this, they have a notice thanking people for coming to their 2015 convention and telling them when 2016 is. And then in December, that they had posted nothing from July until December. In December, they posted their condolences on the passing of Takamasa Sakurai, and that's respectable, but there's been nothing on the 2016 convention at all. No guests, no registration rates, nothing. And so they're reducing their window to get people excited about the next convention. Put up information on the artist alley, put up information on registration, and get some guests announced. This is a big convention, but last year, I did some research, and for 2015, they didn't put any notes on their site until March, which was just 4 months before the convention. The convention was in July. So that's a very small window when they should really utilize the whole year, get people registering early, get them committed to Otakon, get them excited about it. But I don't know if they're distracted with Otakon Vegas or what, but we got to use that window. Let's see, what else do we have in here? I mentioned Anime Expo's attendance. Now, it went up, but it only went up by about 4,500 people. And for Anime Expo, they've had a couple of years of very significant growth, and now it seems to have plateaued. And maybe that's just, you know, the natural market, or maybe it's a result of those registration lines. 2014 had particularly bad registration lines. So bad, in fact, that the SPGA, the organization that runs Anime Expo, posted an open letter apologizing for it and promising to make it better the following year. And so also Anime Expo, or this SPGA, has been involved with Anime Kanji. And just a few weeks ago they announced it would be canceled for 2016, 3 months in advance of the convention. And so I don't know if anything with Anime Expo is playing a part with the cancellation of Anime Kanji, but their statement on the cancellation did say they've collectively decided to focus on expanding and improving each of our events. So it seems like they want to focus more on Anime Expo and probably try to get that attendance growth back up. Let's see. Now, Anime Matsuri, that had a larger than average growth over the last few years. In 2013, it had a 43.82% growth. It had a 29.5% increase in 2014, and a 25 and a third increase in 2015. But the Houston market it's only so large, and they face competition from the nearby cities of Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas, plus other conventions in Houston. So I think at some point this is going to have to start to plateau, start to normalize, because that growth just can't, it's not sustainable. Conventions shouldn't be able to keep up that growth rate for long. And also to factor into this prediction that it's going to, their growth is going to slow down, there was an article in the Houston Press that was very negative about the convention. It dealt with a lot of the issues that people have had, and it brought up a lot of, there was a Lolita issue with the chairman who's promised to go to some sexual harassment training as a result. And then there have been some issues with other nearby conventions, and I mean, they say there's no such thing as bad press, but this may play a factor. We'll see how it turns out next year. And also, one convention that I've mentioned before when I've done these lists, but it's not on the list this year, is MomoCon. And MomoCon would have been number 10 on the list with an attendance of 22,696 attendees. That's a 55.45% jump in attendance. You may be wondering, why aren't they number 10? Why is it Otakuthon? Well, MomoCon is not an anime convention. I actually had it on an early draft of the list, but I had showed it to some people to review and make sure everything was up to par, and somebody pointed out that it was a multi-genre con. So I went and looked a little closer. On the FAQ on MomoCon's website, it says, and I quote, they're a multi-genre fan convention. So as such, they don't qualify for the list, because this is a list of the 10 largest anime conventions in North America. We can't count multi-genre conventions, and we also don't count conventions that include attendance to other conventions within itself. That's why we had to disqualify New York Anime Fest once it was absorbed into New York Comic-Con, and that's why we can't have multi-genre, because then it's not a list of the anime conventions. And if we start getting to conventions that have an anime track, well, do we count Comic-Con? Do we count New York Comic-Con? I mean, we got to draw the line somewhere. So we say primarily anime, they call themselves an anime convention, and MomoCon does not call themselves an anime convention on their own website. So we made the decision that they would be disqualified, so I'm sorry. But as always, I want to remind everybody that this is not a list of the 10 best conventions. Please do not interpret it that way. This is a list of the 10 largest conventions in North America, or anime conventions in North America. And there's hundreds of small anime conventions. There are several hundred that I didn't list here. And please go to AnimeCons.com, find small conventions near you, check them out. You'll have a wonderful time. There's some really great small cons out there. And if we were making a list of the top 100 anime cons, which somebody's probably going to copy this list and put it on that like they did last year, and there's some clickbait article. But yeah, there's some good cons, but there's some really good small ones, so check those out, please. If you want to see the full list in print, you can find it on AnimeCons.com. I've got the entire report written up, and it even has an awesome little graph of attendance, so check that out. Go to AnimeCons.com and it should be there, right there on the homepage. And if not, just hit that more articles if you're watching this months from now, maybe. We also have links to all the previous years we've done this list, back to 2003, so that's quite a while. And so thank you for watching AnimeCons TV. Please subscribe to our podcast. You can find us on iTunes go to itunes.animecons.tv. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/c/AnimeCons TV, or just search AnimeCons TV, you'll find us. And you can find our website at animecons.tv. If you have any comments about this, you can reach us at podcast@animecons.tv or call our voicemail line at 762-ADEQUATE. That's 762-233-7828. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Google+, whatever. But yes, please get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you, and we would love to see you watching our Season 8 coming up every Monday through 2016. I can't believe it's 2016. But yes, watch us every Monday. There's only 4 weeks each year that we take off, usually, weeks that we're busy with Dragon Con or Christmas or whatever. But yeah, every Monday watch for us. New episodes will be posted around midday. So yeah, we'd love to have you watch us, and we'd love to have your feedback too. So please get in touch, and I will see you next time. Next week, I've got a report from SAC Anime 2016. See you then.